Welcome to GM Crypto, the show where Web3, blockchains, and NFT innovation all converge. I'm your host, Luis, and I am joined by my amazing co-hosts, Sedano and the Daredevil himself.
What's up? What's up, man? Happy to be here, GM.
GM guys.
I'm gonna love saying that for every day, pretty much. Yeah.
GM everything. GM
You have to say it
crypto.
all the time,
GM
regardless of
gaming.
whether it's morning, noon, or night.
Yeah.
It's always morning somewhere in the metaverse.
I love explaining that to people who are unaware of what that
'cause-
means yet.
Yeah, there are. I mean, I have some friends who try to do GX. You know,
Ah,
it's wherever
yeah.
you're. But I mean,
heard
doesn't-
that one.
You know, it doesn't hit the same way.
Yeah,
So if you say G.
It doesn't. It doesn't. It's fine though. It's all right. I mean, it's all good.
And
We
it's
like-
all
yeah.
it's always a good morning in crypto.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes. Depends. It actually depends.
Sometimes it's
not.
BM.
I mean, yeah, but you know, we're here again, guys, and we actually came across this article that I want to share with all of our listeners. It's actually about AI tokens.
Okay,
Because AI tokens is all the hype, and you know, I think it's one of the main narratives that crypto is going to be undertaking in this cycle. So this is actually an article from Cointelegraph dated March 8, 2024 from Arjit Sarkar. The title is "AI tokens are more hype than value right now," says Coinbase analyst. So you have Luis here giggling, but he has a bunch of ideas.
I mean, I agree. There's definitely a lot of hype in AI.
Yep.
I think part of it is not even, it's weird, you know, how a lot of this stuff in crypto is actually being informed by other markets.
Yeah.
So like you may or may not know that Nvidia just crossed the $2 billion market cap, right? So they're massive, right? Sorry, I said 2 billion, I meant 2 trillion. They're massive.
Yeah.
They're massive. Basically, these guys are building the chips that run the AI platforms like ChatGPT and things like that, and that's why their stock is, you know, just skyrocketing. And because there's so much of the world that is unable to buy Nvidia stock, because, you know, they're not available in the Philippine Stock Exchange. I don't think they're available in the Japanese one either. So, like, there's all of these other people who want to get in on the AI revolution, but they're unable to do so. So what do instead? They buy AI crypto tokens, right? And a lot of these ones that maybe are in your article are like ones like WorldCoin or Render or AGIX is the other one, you know, stuff like that. They may or may not have anything to do directly with, you know, ChatGPT and the actual stuff that is kind of powering this thing. But they're the closest you can currently get, I think. Which is not to say that these are hype coins necessarily. Yeah. I just think that there's a lot more hype than real stuff right now.
Yeah, I mean, because like, what does really an AI crypto token or crypto project mean, right? I mean, I don't even think like any of these project servers are, you know, are decentralized. Like these still are hosted on centralized servers. Like there are a lot of components that, you know, actually are centralized.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
But I mean, an interesting thing here on the article is that what they've seen is that every time, you know, Bitcoin dips, most or a lot of these tokens get distributed to AI token projects. So I guess that's where the article is coming from. You mentioned WorldCoin, you mentioned Render.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of interest, right?
Yeah,
But let's say for first time, you know, first time crypto investors, right? What are you looking out for? Like, is it just because it says they claim to be an AI token or you know AI related token? You know, would you just a pin on it? I mean, I've seen projects that they claim to be the first AI generated smart contract. Like what the hell does that even mean?
I'm not sure.
Right? But for normal people, like if it's my first time getting into crypto, that's a trap that you'd easily fall into.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe you read an article about this new token and it's something that, you know, interests you and you know, without really knowing like what makes an AI token, because it, as we said, it can mean a lot of things. Right? From my experience, right, what AI tokens mean to me is that, or AI crypto projects mean to me is that a component of their project uses AI technology. It doesn't have to be the project itself. Like a good example of this is it's a game called My Pet Hooligan. So My Pet Hooligan is on Epic Store, it's on Epic Games, but it plays a lot like Fortnite. So you have your NFT characters, like you have the
shooter.
yeah, it's a third person shooter. But the AI component where it actually comes in is that they have NPCs that are tied in with AI. So basically, you could have two NPCs in game, and they could talk to each other, and they're just two robots, two AIs using their own data sets of knowledge to converse.
So it's like a richer gaming experience
Yeah.
because
Yes.
they're not following a script necessarily.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I think the cool part is like they're not just walking around. Maybe they run into a wall. Like they really have their set thoughts of what they're going to do and how it changes the game. If they might just want to walk up to you and kill you or shoot you down just because they want to.
Yeah.
So I think that's so cool.
And that's something that we haven't seen in any other game. Like, I mean, in Web 2 games, right? Most Web 2 NPCs are going to be saying the same script every time you talk to them, like Final Fantasy, all of those stuff. But like that part for me, having that kind of feature, it's something new. It's never been done before. It's a Web 3 game that uses AI. Now, for me, it's a legitimate AI token.
Okay.
So now there's reason for me to get into it, discover, learn more about it. So yeah, I mean, like let's say for you, Luis, like why, like I know that you're in render, right?
Yeah.
So what makes render, a legitimate AI project for you?
I just aped into that one. I didn't really do the research.
Did you read the white paper?
I didn't read the
I
white
read it after.
I'm kidding. Actually, I'll do two other ones that you also mentioned, WorldCoin and AGIX.
Yeah.
So both of these are actually those were picks based on founders. So the founder of WorldCoin is Sam Altman, who also is the CEO of ChatGPT, OpenAI, and stuff like that, right? So I was like, yeah, okay. I guess if there was anything on the blockchain right now that is AI related, this is probably going to be, something like that. And the way he talks about WorldCoin is definitely that it is meant to be a complement to what the work that OpenAI is doing. So that was kind of like OpenAI is not a publicly traded company. There's no way for us to buy stock. You can buy stock in Microsoft, which is one of their kind of biggest investors, but that's kind of it, right? It's not a direct investment into OpenAI itself. So this is kind of like a way to get around that somewhat. The other one, AGIX, that is an AI marketplace. So if you develop AI products, you can kind of put it up on the marketplace and then people can buy it or license it to use in their other AI stuff.
Yeah.
That is founded by this guy named Ben Goertzel, who is his computer scientist, super smart guy. He's the guy who first coined the term artificial general intelligence.
Okay.
So like he's basically a titan in the space of AI research.
That's what AGIX. It's AGI Exchange.
I guess so. Yeah. I think that's what that sounds. Yeah. So those were kind of the reasons why I picked those coins. I still went through kind of the regular research pattern where I was kind of learning about what they were trying to go for and things like that. But ultimately, it became a choice of kind of sometimes the market does things that are so easy to read that it almost feels too good to be true.
Yeah.
Like in the case of AI, like we knew that it was going to be big from like early last year, right? And I was like, I think that if you're going to make any kind of investment right now, you might as well have at least a little bit of AI stuff. Yeah. That's like a very kind of, that's almost a freebie. You don't have to think about that one too much. Yeah, but then again, you do kind of want to eliminate all of the faker AI stuff out there. I'm sure there is, right? But those two, they really kind of, managed to, I thought they were pretty good buys based purely on the fact that they were founded by people that I think are definitely worth supporting. And then, with Render, I aped in.
Well, I mean, I think you nailed it on the dot, Luis, that anything that you invest in, you're investing in, yes, the product, but really it's the person behind the product, right? Yeah. So, I mean, I know we tend to make things more complex than they really are, ideally, as humans, but really, if the person is sound and they know what they're talking about and they really have a good reputation of previous works that they've succeeded in, it's almost a no-brainer of, obviously you're investing in him and the token. Sure, that is the product, but you got Sam Altman. Like, we all know who he is in this space. We all know what he has done. Like, it would be wise to, I mean, it would not be wise to not invest in that type of guy, right? So it makes sense.
And you automatically like eliminate a lot of, like a bit your criteria. Like you level up your criteria, you already, weed out all the other projects that don't make sense. I think we talked about this once upon a time, Jared, where when you look at a project, right, it's not, I mean, first, it's the founders, but also you look at the team, right? The people that we're working with. Then you kind of try to make sense of, like, what are these guys going to be building together, right? So, I mean, going back to my example earlier with My Pet Hooligan, the guys, or at least the founders, have worked on Pixar. They come from Toy Story, done a lot of animated stuff, and now they're also going into bringing in their friends as co-founders, going into basically the same thing that they did for another successful project. So now, like, makes me more confident, right? Now, okay, so they have the technologies there. Plus, they're doing AI, and they also have the track record and the experience. So it makes it a lot more sound than investing in that AI generated smart contract project. Right?
Thanks for helping justify my ape on that one.
We got you, man.
Thank
We're
you.
a team here.
I knew I picked the right token.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's part of it. That's part of it sometimes, right?
we do read the white papers sometimes.
Well, I mean, shifting focus here.
Yeah,
I think another component that's really fueling 2024 when we're talking about the crypto bull run is, yes, AI, but also gaming, Web3 gaming. They really coincide with each other really well. And I think with this article here, just to not to be too broad, but they're talking about unveiling the top 5 trends that's really going to fuel the bull run in 2024. And there's a couple of them here listed, and some of them are the more obvious ones, like the Bitcoin halving, which is going to fuel everything, ideally. Tokenized real world assets. One thing that really makes sense is the new uses for NFTs. Obviously for the past couple of years, NFTs kind of really took a downturn, and now that gaming will, compared to 2021, we can actually play these games and there's utility for them, and NFTs fit so well into gaming just because of the skins or the guns or the things that you can own and now sell, and it's really yours. So I think that really plays in part, and they're gonna really help. They, as in the gaming and NFTs, are really gonna like benefit from each other. These games now, I guess I want to ask your guys' thoughts, and I know you're big into gaming, John. Now that these Web3 games, there really are crypto-powered games, and we're moving away from the play-to-earn model.
Yeah.
And now we're going into this different sense of how we can, is it play and earn? Or, I mean, how does that go about? Because a lot of these people, they want to play games and they want to own the skins and they want to make some money off of it. How is that in your thoughts? How are people going to be able to make money off of these Web3 games?
No, I mean, it's a really good question, right? If you were personally to ask me, like, I think the term, play to earn, it will always be play to earn, right? Like, it's always about playing a Web3 game and getting something out of it. So, whether you're using play and earn, X to earn, play and earn, play whatever to earn, doesn't really matter. Like, for me, play to earn marks a point in time where people started to realize, or gamers started to realize, like, there's actually a tool available to make, just to legitimize the whole concept of in-game or game economies. Because before, like, let's say for MMORPGs, like, let's say Ragnarok Online or World of Warcraft, there are those set of people who actually, take it very seriously, invest their time and effort, and resell items, farm gold and all that. It's already been done.
Yeah.
Right. And when play to earn came along, it's just, like, solidifying, what the next iteration of gaming will be. And for me, it serves as a marker of what the different versions of it will look like in the future. So one trend that I've noticed is guilds. So Pixels just announced, their guild system. Where, you could own a guild and you could also have players enlist in your guild. And it's, instead of individual players people playing by themselves. Like the collective action of you contributing to a game's like player base and economy and activity is rewarded. So it's more of a group play to earn.
That's cool.
Right. And also we've seen or we've heard Axie Infinity also doing a similar thing. They've also announced their guild system. They're bringing back V2, the version that everyone loved, but now they're also integrating guilds into it. So the cool thing about guilds is that now there's also an Ethereum update. It's called ERC 6551 or the backpack NFTs, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But this is where your NFTs can also now serve as wallets.
Cool.
So what does that mean for guilds, right? So let's say a specific guild can have an NFT with their logo on it, and also the assets that are produced by the community as a whole can go straight to that NFT, right? So it's a community-owned or it's a guild-owned NFT, right? So not only are you putting, let's say, you and your groups of friends like logo on a game, but also it serves as a wallet that could be owned by a lot of guys. So there are a lot of people doing this. There are a lot of games doing this. But yeah, I think the trend that will be more popular than the others is actually groups of people or games or guilds in games that will be working together to drive more activity and just more interest, and also speed up the competitive environment of Web3 esports. I mean, that's a whole another discussion in itself. But Web3 esports, it's also, I think it's also about time where esports will be reinvented. And, like if we're only scratching the surface with, like NFT tickets, like for events, digital, just like with music, like, digital posters, membership, we've seen this with fan tokens, with soccer clubs, football clubs. So yeah, that bridges all into esports. So we're just going to be about to see, what gaming 2.0 really is going to be looking like. It's not just going to be 8-bit, pixelated 2D scrollers anymore. All these AAA games we have been building for the past 3 years are about to come out.
Right? So exciting.
That is the big challenge with games, right? I mean, because the crypto industry is so used to just things being built at light speed.
Yeah.
And the problem is you can't build a good game in under a year. It's just so hard to do that. So like if you want to build something really good that people really enjoy, it takes a couple years to do it. And I think that when we were both starting in the Web3 gaming industry, a lot of those things were just concepts. We hadn't. They were like presentations that we saw. We never actually saw the finished. I never got to see a finished product because they were still building it because it takes so much time. And I guess maybe the thing that at least this is what we have to hope for now. Hopefully, the 2024 is going to coincide with both the launch of these big games and kind of the bull market for the industry, right? So everything kind of takes off at the same time.
Yeah.
That would be pretty sick.
I mean, I think, when we start getting more excitement throughout the year and we start seeing an influx of streamers and important gaming influencers, like Dr. Disrespect or Timmy the Tapman or Ninja, when we start seeing guys like that streaming Web3 games, I think that's when it's going to be a huge cultural shift into Web3, into gaming. You already see it a little bit and it's happening, but like you guys said, like games take a long time to develop. And it's a funny story. 2021, when I started finding out about all this information, I wanted to make a game. So I started telling all my Hooper friends, guys, let's make a game. We can use our own IPs. Let's get all the famous guys from all around Asia. It'll be totally easy. I got this. And then I'm finding out like, no, it costs it costs a lot of money and it takes a long time to make. And it just...
Was it going to be a basketball game?
Obviously.
Yeah, of course. It had to be. Okay.
It was going to be a basketball game, but it definitely takes a while. So now that it's finally catching up a little bit about all the building that's been going on, it's just almost like a wait and see now. Once these things do roll out. Yeah.
How are you guys tracking this stuff? Because I guess you could kind of group them into particular blockchains, right? So there's like the Ronin guys, which is Axie Infinity, Sky Mavis, all of that stuff. And then I guess Immutable X falls into its own category. What are the other ones? I guess Gala is one.
Gala
Gala's
Chain is
one,
one.
yeah.
AVAX, there's one. Ethereum, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Obviously.
Solana even has their own gaming stuff.
Oh,
that's
okay. I haven't
only-
seen that one. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, you could like there are games that only exclusively release, let's say, on Magic Eden, right? So
Right,
technically,
right.
they're a Solana game and stuff.
Oh, okay. Right.
Solana, that's a big one.
Okay. Are you gonna buy that Solana phone, the second one?
Yeah, no, I've been thinking about it, but then it still looks like $100. I don't want to name drop. It's like $100 budget phone.
Right,
But then
sure.
like the features, I mean,
I mean, I think you're buying it for the airdrops. I don't think you're buying
That's
it for the
another
actual
thing.
phone.
Cool. Right?
Yeah.
yeah, because the airdrop wasn't bad at all, right?
Yeah. I think you would have made something like $2,000 on the airdrops.
and you get your-
so
you
you'd
get
have
your phone
definitely
back.
gotten the money for the
money, yeah.
phone back.
Yeah.
Although the phone itself was not as usable as you
Yeah,
would have.
exactly. I mean, if
Yeah,
it's a
so-
crypt or if it's a gaming phone, then that's a different story.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind throwing a couple of, a few $1,000 in there, but yeah, I mean, it's a good thing that you brought it up, right? So there are gaming chains that have a different approach. Let's say, for example, like Sky Mavis or Dronin. Now it's not just Axie Infinity. You have Pixels. What's this? They've announced like
Ape Iron.
Ape Iron. I've heard about a lot more just OG games trying to get into Ronin as well.
Cyberkongs, I think they just got
Cyberpunk is in there,
Yep.
and yeah, but that's also it's also there's another different approach where like say like like Gala Games, right? Like it's mostly their own games that are in their ecosystem.
Okay.
Right. And then there's also here I have an article pulled up from the Coin Republic, and it's about Ubisoft joining
Wow.
Xpla. So yeah, basically like
Okay.
Ubisoft is also one of the earlier investors of
Just a
Axie
small
Infinity,
startup,
right?
Yeah.
not a
I went to
well-known
the
brand.
Game Summit. Just to piggyback off what you were saying, I went to the Game Dev Summit in Boracay just recently. I got to miss basketball practice for it. It was amazing.
Okay.
But what I'm getting to is these big studios, they were all there. There's Capcom, there's the developers of like Assassin's Creed and Gears of War, Street Fighter. Well, Street Fighter's Capcom, but they have interest in the space, and they're trying to find ways how to enter into this space. And that's just a big sign, a big signal, like it's coming. Like, I mean, Epic Games already has, something. And Ubisoft, like you said, already has a little bit, but yeah, I mean, people know.
Yeah, I'm still trying to put a finger on it, right? Like, what are the perks of, let's say, like Ubisoft, like a Web2 company that's getting into Web3 for them, joining as validators, let's say for Xplo or like other chains, versus having them build their own blockchain like Gala Games and just or Ronin and just build their put their own games in their own chains. What are the trade-offs there?
I mean, if I were to think about it like a big corporation, I would guess that they're just trying to get their feet wet and say that, hey, we did this small thing. People seem to, really welcome it. It got good press and stuff like that. Now we can kind of ask for a bigger budget and do something even more ambitious. And typically that is kind of the general corporate strategy on this kind of thing, unless you're Apple, in which case you're Apple, you just build silently for a decade and then
true.
then you launch an iPhone, right? And everyone is like, where the hell did this thing come from, right? That was totally unexpected. But I think with a lot of other companies, they tend to kind of do these small things first, and then they get more and more ambitious as they get better and better feedback. Just because I guess no one wants to be that guy who, kind of like steered Ubisoft into the direction of like 100% Web3 and blockchain and crypto, and then it just like falls flat on its face or whatever, right? You don't want to be that guy. So you just try to do these small experiments first.
Makes sense.
I imagine that's how they do it.
It was also Ubisoft who actually did the Tom Clancy NFT.
Was there? I didn't see that one.
They did, but it actually like fell flat on its face. Like it was
okay.
right.
Yeah.
It was right on the time when Play to Earn was starting to get a bad rap.
Oh, okay.
It was on the way down.
So the timing was bad.
Timing was bad.
Put out that like Web3 feature in Tom Clancy. Then their whole community, like imagine all of these Web2 gamers who were starting to get, might have been in Axie Infinity and lost a lot of money. And then now their favorite game, Tom Clancy's Split Yourselves, is going to be Web3 as well. So they were furious. They had to pull back that update.
Oh,
They had to take it
wow.
back.
Okay.
Yeah, that actually
that
happened.
explains why I missed this. I didn't even realize that. Okay. Okay. Wow.
I mean, I was talking about this to one of my friends, right? Like, I think in Web3 games, like for this next cycle at least, like we need more players who who are not just in it for the earning aspect,
Yes.
right? Because I mean, how did game economies of Web2 games work before? Like, let's say for example in Ragnarok Online, you have a small concentration of players who were the ones monetizing the game, right? I was playing it because I wanted the next best sword, and when if I go to
Yeah.
the guild war, I have a
Yeah,
really
yeah.
cool like avatar
Yeah.
or something. We need more of those guys,
Yeah, yeah.
and the only way to do it, I think, is that you have to have the game first, and the
course.
blockchain
Absolutely.
features after. And we're seeing more and more
Absolutely.
games do this.
That's true.
So going back to my hooligan, if you go to their website, so you see that's released on Epic Games, like these are the new updates, these are the new skins in the marketplace. The NFT feature is actually a small part of it. You have to go to one of the sub tabs on the website. You have to scroll down, and it's called ownership. So it's one piece of the whole project. And when you
like
click
that.
ownership, that's the time you see the staking features.
interesting. Okay.
That's the time you see like your like the AI stuff.
Right.
So it's really on the back end, but I think it's a good thing that more and more games are doing this, is because we're going to be able to attract more people who are going to be playing your game because they come across it on Facebook or on social media and say, "Wow, this is a game I want to try out."
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Then once they're sucked in, that's the time you drop the blockchain bomb on them, and now they're part of Web3 game.
Yeah.
That's interesting that it's like, yeah, it turns out the strategy is build a good game first.
Yeah.
Who'd
Make it a
have known?
game.
Yeah.
Make it a game. Yeah.
I thought having a really cool white paper would.
Yeah, I know.
It's gonna get those gamers all excited.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Or
That's a problem, right? Like if if it's the concept first, or at least it's you attract people in all about the how to earn in the game, then you're gonna end up having just a bunch of players who want to make money out of it.
yeah,
Right?
right.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there you go. I was trying to come up with a cool way to transition from yours into mine, and I was like, unfortunately, I couldn't find it. But I guess
What you got going
actually, it's a little similar to kind of what Jared was talking about earlier, where kind of this run up, this 2024 bull market is composed of many different things.
Yeah.
So you said AI, you said games. The centerpiece really is kind of Bitcoin and where it's going, right? And
Yeah.
kind of I think as we're recording this now, it just broke $70,000, first time in history that it's ever done that. And I mean, it's not at $70,000 right now. I think it's about 68, but still, it managed to hold it this time for at least an hour or so. And the question that I always get asked now, so there's always two questions when I'm in conferences or workshops. There's always two questions I get. The first one is, what's your Bitcoin price prediction for 2024? Of course, that's like everyone's question. The other one is now, is it too late to get into Bitcoin? Because we're at $70,000 for God's sake, right? So the first thing is like, you have to explain to them that, hey, you don't have to actually have $70,000, by the way, to buy Bitcoin. You can buy any amount, even a tiny amount. You can buy like 200 pesos worth. So that's the first thing. But then, I guess maybe the real reason why they ask that is they want to know if there's still space for the thing to grow. Because if it's at 70K right now,
How much?
Where's it gonna go?
yeah, right. And so I had a couple of statistics that I wanted to share with you guys, because I can never answer these questions by just telling you the number, right? Like I have to kind of give you like the data behind it so that I can justify my job mostly. I can justify my role in the show. So since 2015, Bitcoin has broken its all-time high 148 times.
Wow.
Since 2015. So over the last 9 years, there has been 148 recorded instances of Bitcoin breaking its previous all-time high. Okay, now out of that 148 times, in 80% of those instances, it has continued to trend upwards after that. Okay. Meaning that, okay, so here, let me give you the specific example, right? So the $20,000 all-time high was first set in 2017, December of 2017. That was when we first hit $20,000. We could not break that all-time high for the next 3 years. Bitcoin just kind of like, it took so freaking long, right? But it finally did. It did break it at the very end of 2020, 3 years later. And then it continued to go up for the next 4 weeks. It finally kind of found its peak at $42,000. So basically it doubled from that point, right? So I tell that story because I guess I'm coming up to my answer for the main question. What's my Bitcoin price prediction for 2024? I think it's going to be somewhere in the $130,000 to $150,000 range. And so going back to the biggest question, is it too late? No, I don't think it's too late because I think there's still space, and I think that it'll actually still kind of come up from here. But I mean, if you're looking for a 100x return, that's not going to happen on Bitcoin, because if a 100x return on Bitcoin implies that all of the money in the world is now in Bitcoin, so that's probably not going to happen. But if you are okay with like a 2x return, there might be time, I guess. I wanted to ask the both of you, like, because you guys are kind of more in the gaming side of things, the NFT side of things. I don't have as much visibility into those communities, so I don't actually know. Like, do people care about Bitcoin on that side of crypto? And it's actually kind of funny that I have to ask this, right? Because it's funny that I don't know, because there are different segments of the crypto community that don't necessarily talk to each other.
It's true. I mean, I'd say yes.
Because they know that it whatever Bitcoin does, things follow. Everything follows, right? So if Bitcoin's doing well, obviously anything that's connected to it, which is like you said, it really is the centerpiece of everything in the space. So we don't talk about it as much, I would say. We're discussing like, hey, did you?
It's not a main thing.
It's not a main thing, I would say.
I mean, every time it breaks all-time highs, everyone's happy.
Everyone talks about it.
Yeah.
Like, they're more concerned about their own tokens in the games that they're in, right?
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, in general, like, Jared's right. It sets a threshold of where the market they feel is going. What the sentiment is, and what I notice is that there's also a lot of gaming projects that they're actually very smart about the releases and their milestones. They would ideally want to time it with a market, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Going back again to my pet hooligan, which is like my topic for this episode was, what they've done is, like, those NFT characters that you can play in game is you can actually also stake them, and it's earning soft tokens, right, for actually holding those NFTs while they're building the game. And now they've just announced, I think it was last night, that they're giving the NFT holders 2 weeks to claim all the tokens that they've earned from staking their Rabbit NFTs.
Okay.
And they've also announced the launch of their coin. So, like, those soft tokens, I assume will be converted into like their ecosystem token, right?
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, and it's right in time with all-time high of Bitcoin.
Okay.
Which is a really smart move.
You're
Like,
using,
I would do the same.
You're using the momentum of the market itself.
Leveraging it. That's smart.
I guess that kind of makes sense. Do you talk to, I don't know, like, I assume you've got lots of friends who are still not into this stuff, right? And like, do you talk to your friends about Bitcoin first, or do you talk to them about the game side of Web3 or like?
No, that's a good question. As an athlete, like, gaming and sport and athletes really go with each other big time.
Yeah.
Obviously it's still Web 2 games like Call of Duty or Valorant or Fortnite.
Sure. Yeah.
But that's really what's starting to pique their interest. It's really leveraging gaming and getting them into the game. Just like how John was saying, like, you go on the My Pet Hooligan website, they don't have it right in front of your face. Buy this NFT. It's way in the back.
Yeah.
So it's seamless. It's almost invisible. And I think when that happens more and more, these guys that play all these Web 2 games, they don't even know that they're playing a Web 3 game. They don't even know that it's utilized on a blockchain.
Right.
Like for Gala, their games are actually built on nodes. And some of the people that I've like funneled them to play these games like Last Expedition or Eternal Paradox and whatnot, they didn't even know until I told them. And they're like, what? It's on the blockchain? Are you kidding me? Like, dude, I didn't even know that. Yeah. So I think when that happens more and more, like, for sure, they're going to be getting into it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's also, the same for me and my friends, right? Like the Bitcoin, like, discussions, like, get pushed to the side a bit, just because I think there's more understanding of what it is now. Like, even with the ETF, I mean, it's just, like, they don't really need to understand what Bitcoin does or what the technology is, but they know it exists. A lot of people consider it as legit.
Yep.
And now like all these other byproducts of Bitcoin, which go into gaming, go into AI, go into like almost everything that we will be seeing in the future. So it's slowly becoming, a natural part of our daily lives. It's more of with the stuff that they're interested in, how can you, explain, how can you tell them what blockchain does for those, like, let's say those industries? Like, how does it improve? Like, what projects are they doing the same thing that they're doing? Like, for me, that's how it makes it easier to talk these guys into getting into Web3. If there's something that they're interested in, it doesn't have to be Bitcoin.
Right.
Right. But how does it apply to their daily lives? Then they're hooked. Then they know. Then they're willing to listen.
Well said. Well said. And on that note, I think that is our show for today,
Yes,
gentlemen. Thank you so much. This was awesome as always. And if all of you guys liked what you saw, if you learned something, please do like and subscribe. Please share the content that we're producing, and please let us know what you guys think. Like, tell us in the comments, what do you want us to talk about next? Or what things do you want us to demystify or explain for you? We're here. This is GM Crypto. See you in the next one.
Sure. Stay out the shadows.